part 24 is WooCommerce Setup. Log into your WordPress dashboard. I'm going to navigate to Plugins, Add New, search in the top right hand corner for WooCommerce, W-O-O Commerce. The first plugin that shows up will be by WooThemes. We're going to install now. And we'll go ahead and activate this plugin. You want to go ahead through the setup process, click on Let's Go. This is going to automatically add some pages for you: shop, cart, checkout, my account. You want to click on Continue. You want to select your state. By default, our store is going to be set by US dollars, pounds, and inches. When you click on Continue, when you set this up based on your own personal store preferences. Will you be shipping products? Depending on whether or not you're going to be shipping products or charging sales taxes, you want to choose these options for yourself. So as for right now, we don't plan on actually shipping any products, so we're going to click on skip this step, and you want to choose what options, what payment processing options you'll be using. So you've got Stripe, PayPal Standard, check payments, bank transfers, cash on delivery. Right now we actually are going to choose PayPal Standard, and you want to enter your PayPal email address here. As for us, I don't think we have a PayPal email address just yet, so we're going to keep this empty for now, and we're going to click on Continue. And if you want to help make WooCommerce better, you can allow them to collect non-sensitive diagnostics data. I like to just choose no thanks, and we don't have any products to create just yet. We're just going to return to the WordPress dashboard. So now if you go over to Pages, you should have some additional pages: Cart, Checkout, and Shop. We're going to quick edit these pages and set them to draft. We're not necessarily going to use these pages just yet. And we're going to go over to Settings, Permalinks, and we're going to update our Permalinks structure just by saving the changes. Okay, because now we have product permalinks. If you click on products, you'll see where you can add your first product. You have the option to also go through the WooCommerce settings and add coupons. We don't need to do any of this yet, obviously, but we can go to Settings to further update our WooCommerce settings. So you've got selling locations, shipping locations, default customer location. You can have this by default to geolocate. You'll have your currency position, 1000 separator. Most of this can be set to default if you're in the United States. As for products, you've got weight, dimension, units. We can enable or disable ratings on reviews. Ratings are required to leave a review. Show verified owner label for customer reviews. We like to also include only allow reviews from verified owners and save changes. You've got product display settings. For the most part, you can select these like shop pages, your shop page, etc. In the future, we're not necessarily ready to set up our shop page yet. And sometimes you can have it set to redirect to the cart page after someone adds a product to the cart. We like to keep this disabled because someone might like to continue shopping. As for product image gallery, you can choose whether or not you want a light box to pop up when someone clicks on an image. I'm personally going to disable this option now. We've got inventory. So right now we don't necessarily need stock management because we're not selling any physical products at the moment. So if you're selling digital products, you might not want to have this option enabled because it's unnecessary. If you're actually selling something like t-shirts, then yes, you definitely want to have this option enabled. You've got notifications for low stock or when something goes out of stock, and what email address you want your notifications to be received. At what threshold do you want to show the low stock notification? So you can have this by default, it's 2. You can have it set to something like 10 if you have 50 products, or 100 if you have 1,000 products, etc. Depending on what product you're selling. Out of stock threshold, obviously 0. Do you want to hide the stock items from the catalog when they're out of stock? Not necessarily. We're gonna go ahead and click Save Changes. You've got a downloadable product category where you can force the downloads. By default, this will be the option that you should keep the download option on unless you know what you're doing when you change it. And downloads require login. So if you have a digital products website and you want your users to be logged in or create an account, then you might want to select this option. Obviously, they don't necessarily have to log in. If you have the option for them to make payments as guests, then they can purchase and download the product without ever logging in or creating an account. Shipping information is going to be tailored to your own business. So whether or not you're shipping any information, maybe I'll do a video on shipping later, if for clothing companies or people who are creating physical products. You have shipping options and shipping classes. This gets a little complicated when you're setting this up. Most people aren't really sure how to set up shipping, so maybe I'll do a video on this later. As for checkout, this is where you actually manage your different payment options. By default, we have PayPal set as our standard form of payment, which generally you can allow the payment on your website of both PayPal accounts, credit and debit cards, etc. through the PayPal option. We have enable use of coupons checked by default. So you want to go in here and actually select which options to use for your Woocommerce settings. One option you definitely want to enable, since we have an SSL certificate set up, is force secure checkout via HTTPS on checkout pages. You want to check that option, especially if you do have the SSL certificate installed on your domain name. We've got a cart page, we've got a checkout page. I've set those pages to draft mode. When you go back and set those to public, you want to go in here and actually select those pages. And you definitely want to create a terms and conditions page, even though we don't have anything in there yet. So what I'm going to do is right click posts and open this in a new tab, pages. I'm going to right click pages and open that in a new tab, and I'm going to create a terms and conditions page with no content in it. So I'm going to click on add new. You can title this terms or terms and conditions, and is a stop word. So in your URL, you might want to title the URL terms - conditions, but we don't necessarily need anything in here to automatically generate the URL for us, the permalink. And you've got Yoast SEO Premium. We don't necessarily need to have this set to be followed, so we can save this as a no follow, no index, and we're going to go ahead and publish this page. So for now, we don't necessarily need to have that page indexed by Google or followed by the robots text. You might not know what that means, but in the future we'll talk more about setting that up so that Google can actually track those pages. But right now there's no content in there for it to be followed. So we can refresh our WooCommerce settings page and add the terms and conditions page now here. So when you go and update the terms and conditions page with content, it will already be linked to WooCommerce. By default, we've got WooCommerce enabled, so we want to go ahead and click Save Changes. We'll go over to the PayPal tab. And right now, PayPal standard is enabled. You want to insert your PayPal email address here. And we're going to set up the advanced options and our PayPal email address in a separate video when we go to set up PayPal, because I'm going to do a video on that as well. For now, we don't necessarily have to add any information here. One thing that I do recommend changing, though, in case you set up more websites later and use the same PayPal account, which I don't necessarily recommend, but you want to change your invoice prefix. So for us, our website is called Third Coast Detailing. We're going to change this to TCD so that we know where payments are going and coming from related to our website's connection to our PayPal account. And we're going to go ahead and click Save Changes. We're going to generate APIs later when we create our PayPal account. Under the Accounts tab, the My Accounts page by default is set to My Account because we didn't actually set this page to draft. You can enable registration on the checkout page, which by default I do recommend. I don't recommend enabling registration on the My Accounts page. Most of these settings are going to be recommended to remain default. So we can go over to the emails page or the emails tab, and this is where you can go and update different emails, the structure of emails that are received and the content in those emails. For instance, when we receive a new order on our website, an email is going to come to our business email saying, hey, you got a new order on your website. You can go and customize and configure the text that you see and the structure of this email. And you can even change the email address that this content goes to. So when we set up our website, our WordPress, we actually used our business email that we registered through 1&1 to set this website up. So by default, our business email is where new orders will come through. Maybe you want to set up a new email and have your WordPress email be info@yourbusiness.com, and then have a secondary email for the shop, for products, for orders. You might want to have that orders@yourwebsite.com, or payments at your whatever you want for business purposes, to separate the new user registration emails from the order emails, etc. You can go in here and change those emails here. Obviously, you want to leave customer, the recipient emails that are labeled as customer as they are, minus maybe changing how they are laid out, the text, that the copy that's in the actual email. But you want to definitely leave the customer email as the customer email. From name, so when the customer receives the email, they'll see that it came from Third Coast Mobile Detailing. The from address is info@thirdcoastdetailing.com, so you might want to change this to your shopping at thirdcoastdetailing.com or orders at thirdcoastdetailing.com. Whatever you want to set this up for payment. If you wanted to have a secondary email, you change that here, and you can go and update a header image for your emails. Your footer text by default will say Third Coast Mobile Detailing powered by WooCommerce, so you can adjust this. Change it from powered by WooCommerce to your domain name. And you can change your base colors, background color, body color, to customize the colors of the emails to match the branding of your website here. You want to click Save Changes once that's finished. As for API, this one is a little bit advanced. It's not something that you're necessarily going to need. You got keys and applications that allows for advanced configuration of different associations to WooCommerce with other plugins and other websites, etc. You don't necessarily need to worry about this. So now you've got pretty much your WordPress website set up with WooCommerce. All your other associated pages are set to draft mode. When you go back and set those to public, you want to go back in here and update those pages, such as in checkout, you've got the cart page, the checkout page needs to be updated, etc. So you want to go back and update those pages and look through your settings 2 or 3 times when you actually get ready to build out your site. The reason I have those pages in draft mode is because if we install a theme, the theme may install other shop pages if it has WooCommerce pages associated with the theme. So some themes actually have custom designed shop pages and checkout pages, etc. So when you install that theme, it might actually automatically integrate those pages with these WooCommerce settings. So that's why I say you want to go back and check and change those pages later. So now you've got WooCommerce set up. You're not necessarily ready to sell products, but you're ready to move on to the next step.